So today I want to show you a fun sound design technique you can experiment with, and this is based on a video by Make Noise about transient sculpting with maths. I will put a link in the description, of course. The main idea here is to use the sound itself to generate an envelope only on the transients of the sound, so only on the very beginning of the sound, and then use this envelope to add another layer. Now this works great with drums and percussive sounds, but you can experiment with this in all sorts of ways. So here I have some drums. Of course, the gate sequencer from Impromptu, sequencing Tremor 2 as a kick and a hi-hat. I have here the drum module from Doc B as an open hat and Tremor as a snare drum. They're all going to a group, so it will sound like this. Right, for now I will mute this, and first of all I would like to mix the drums so I can process them all together. For this I will use the VCV VCA mix. Right, so we have the kick, we have the hi-hat, we have the open hat, and we have the snare. Right, now we will need to extract the amplitude envelope of this audio so it will be easier to use later on. And this we can do with an envelope follower. I will use the one here from Bog Audio. Maybe I will zoom in a bit. Right, the mix will go to the envelope follower. For now, let's look at this also on the scope. Right, so we get the actual amplitude envelope of this drum loop. Right, if we listen to this also, right, you can see, if I change the gain a bit, right, you can see the envelope is following the amplitude of the drums. You can see the kick drum, you can see the snare, the hi-hats. Right, if I change the damping a bit, the smoothing, you see this even more clearly. Right, so now we get the amplitude envelope of the actual drums, and now we can use this signal to get gates whenever this signal goes up, which is when it starts basically at the transient. And for this we can use a slope detector. Right, this is the one from Count Modula. So the signal will go, the envelope signal will go to the input of the slope detector. Right, and from the rising output we get a gate whenever the incoming signal goes up, which is exactly what we need. Right, for now this is a bit chaotic as you can see, but we can adjust the response time and then get something a bit more usable, and you will see we get a gate. Right, for each of the different sounds here, as soon as the sound or the audio or the signal goes up, a gate will open, right, which is basically at the transient. Now, by the way, you can use other modules as envelope followers and slope detectors. Also in hardware, there are a few options like Math, of course, that can do both, or Rampage that can also do both. You can use other function generators as envelope followers and as slope detectors. So really there's a big chance that you might already have this functionality in your setup. So anyway, now I would like to use these gates to control the envelope of the original audio, and by that extract only the transients for further processing. So for this we will need another envelope. In my case, I will use the Instruo knock because I would like to have something nice and snappy, but you can experiment with other envelopes. Now the rising gates will go and will trigger this envelope. And now we need this envelope to control the amplitude of the original audio, so we can extract only the transients. And for this, to control the amplitude of signals, we use, for example, a VCA. Right, so the audio will go to the VCA. Let's send this already to the mixer. Right, and now the envelope, right, will control this VCA. Right, and now it's all a matter of fine-tuning the envelope and the levels on the mixer until we get something we like. Right, so for now you can hear really we get only the first transients of the sound. But we can open the envelope and let more sound through. Right, and again adjusting the response time, adjusting the levels on the mixer. Right, and we get just the initial hit of the sound. And if I open the envelope even more, we let more and more sound through. Right, so now there are many ways you can use this signal. For example, I like sending this through a delay. So I'm going to use Prince of Perception here. Right, I'm going to sync it with my clock. Right, and now the signal will go to the delay. And I will set the delay 100% wet because we already have the original signal coming from the original drums. Right, maybe change the delay time. Right, so now we have only the transients of the sound going through a delay. Right, we can from there send it, for example, through some distortion to add a bit more crunch to it. Right, something like this. Right, then from there, for even more movement, we can use something like a phaser, and this I will do already in stereo. So now we turn the transients also into a stereo signal. Right, listen to this. Right, also this maybe we can sync just for fun because it's drums. Right, so again, now this sound is coming only from the very transients, the initial transients of the sound itself. And again, this is just meant to add another layer to the original loop. So for now, I will take this all the way down, right, and then unmute the original drums. Now I can mix it in slowly. Right, just as another layer. Something like this. Right, so again, we extract the transients, process them for adding another layer. You can save this, right, you can save this whole chain as a selection file and just load it into your patches and process all sorts of different sounds, experiment with various effects. For now, I have here a bass, right, with keycall from Befaco with a Euclidean sequencer. And I have here another sequence with slips, sequencing the VCV VCO, going through two bandpass filters. Right, now again, if I mute this additional layer we added, it's still nice, but with this layer we have more movement, more processing, more sound design details. Right, it's a bit more interesting. Again, you can take this in all sorts of different ways. You don't have to use a delay and a phaser, for example. But that was it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you again for watching. Cheers.